What?
It's so good. It's so good. This is what makes you so brilliant. Are these ideas that are just so out of the box. They're just so big that's how you get these huge success
No, these
stories that you
ideas are in the box. They're in the box.
do.
Sometimes you don't have the budget to do that. So you
Right.
just send a shark. You put a
Why would you
stamp on this
shark?
shark and you put a message in the shark. Have you ever gotten a shark in the mail?
Never.
They tend to be opened. I'm going to choose to laugh and I'm going to choose to create joy. I'm going to choose to create wealth. And everywhere I go, I'm going to celebrate that whereas other people go to work, I go to play.
Hello, everybody. Amanda Holmes here, CEO of Chat Homes International. And it is my honor and privilege to have Tom Schaff here. Tom Schaff, to me, is one of the top 3 most brilliant strategists in my world. Whenever I am in a real bind, it is Tom that I call. And I'm so grateful that you took this interview, Tom, because people need to understand how to effectively deploy a sales strategy. And you have a gift for innovation that I know very little have. I mean, I'm reading your bio here. In one of them, it says that as a co-founder of Solution People, you had half of Business Week's top 50 most innovative companies in the world as clients. I know that you had clients with us, with my father and Tony, for brands like Intuit and Jiffy Lube and US Bank and Costco, and the list goes on and on. And just to also say that you bring you everywhere you go. You also have this amazing amount of information about baseball, and you've bought the Field of Dreams and all of these wonderful things that are coming out because of the gift that you have with sales. I'm so grateful to have you here. Thank you.
Well, it's great to be here. And before we start, I have to say something. I knew your dad, and every time we get together, he would show pictures of you and Jordan, like every single time. I'd say, look at how good looking they are. My kids are so good looking. And look at how smart they are. And he would play a song that you wrote. He'd say, isn't she amazing? And as I watched, over the last 9 years or 8.5 since your father passed, he would say, look at my kids. I'm proud of them. And he would talk about all the great things you're doing. And so it's great to be here. I'm proud of you. And you are extremely gifted, and you've done wonderful things, not only to continue your brand, but I think you bring a purity and a wonderfulness that your father had, he wouldn't always release. And it's really wonderful to see you come into your own and leverage the family legacy, but not be confined to it. So thank you.
Tom. That's amazing. You make me want to cry. Okay, but today we're talking about
There's
Dream
no
100.
crying in baseball.
Well, today we're covering Dream 100, and I'm so glad that you're here because people get stuck on the very first step. Who is your Dream 100? What would be your advice to so many businesses that have realized, wow, this is so great. I can get a really big client and it'll change my world. And then I'll get 28 more of them. And then I'll build out my 100 list right here and I'll go after them. What is your advice to somebody that's trying to build that list right now?
Yeah. And I don't mean to cut away from the family religion, but maybe it's not Dream 100. Maybe the 100 is the problem, that it's so burdensome. Maybe 20% of anything gives us 80% of the value, and maybe it's 20 people. And if we take that and say 20% of 20 is 4%, and 80% of 80 is 64%, maybe 4 give us 64% of the value. Maybe it's, who do I really want? So, when I look at it, one of your dads, if you look at his Dream 100, I don't know that after he got out of working for Charlie in the advertising business, that he did a lot of 100 personally. He had a Dream 1, chase Jay Abraham, then after that, chase Tony Robbins for 17 years. He had pig-headed discipline and the audacity and tenacity and whatever other words I can end with city, right? I have to get, Les Brown to help me out with this. But he had that kind of drive, and he could follow up on people. The average person does not have that certainty. So here's what I advise. It might start off with, who do you love? Who do you love spending time with? Who are your people? Look at it, instead of a dream 100, look at it as, these are my tribe. These are the people that are my people. Like, there are all these people on the world, but I was put on the earth to serve these people. I call it humble swagger. And here it is. I can't help everybody. That's humble. I can't help everyone. But when it comes to these people, there's nobody that can help these people like me. I can't help everybody, but the people I can help, it would be a moral obligation for me to get in front of them. It would be like stealing if they didn't get me. So I will pay the price for my people. And so that's a good place to start. Like, who do you love? Who do you get out of bed? Who will you work day and night for and think it's a joy and a gift and an honor to serve? That might be a pretty good place to stay. Maybe you're not that
That's
evolved.
a great.
Yeah.
I love that prompt. I was just going to ask, do you have a live example of this? Like, here's a client that I did this for, or even yourself?
Well, I'm doing it now. I'll give you an example. Since I stopped working with your dad, your dad got sick in 11, about this time, and then passed away on August 12th, I think, 2012. I remember the dates: February 13th, August 12th. They jump it. Your birthday's February 13th too. So I remember those dates all of the time. But today is March 12th. And on this date, the world ended. The world stopped this day a year ago. On March 11th, I had my whole 2020 sold out. I didn't have a moment in my calendar. Everything was sold out. But in all my corporate contracts, I have 30-day outs. 30-day outs that if they're not doing the work, I can leave because I don't want to drag somebody. It never occurred to me that the world would end and people would opt out because they had fear. And on March 12th, as I was in Indianapolis with my buddy Tom Schaff, we started seeing people leave the hotels because the Big Ten tournament was canceled. And then other things were canceled. And then it was like a power out where everything in the world was shut down. And the next week I started getting calls, and private equity said, got to keep our powder dry. We don't know how it's going. We're going to take our 30 days, and our 30 days. By March 20th, I realized that after April 20th, I would have no clients. I would have zero revenue, and that I got to start over. With the senior in high school and another one in college. I'm like, what am I going to do? And for me, I sat back and said, where's the opportunity in the problem in the world? People are going to die. There's going to be fear about dying. I expected there would be significantly more market volatility than there's been. Our market's actually gone up, which is weird to me. But I mean, the world's falling apart and stock market goes up. That didn't make sense to me, but it did happen. But I thought, you know what? There's going to be volatility and people are going to worry about dying, and the rich aren't going to get poor, but they are going to be more exposed. So I said, we're going to go after the rich. And on March 12th, that afternoon, immediately, I said to Tom Schaff, I'm only going to train wealth advisors. I'm only going to train insurance people. Only.
They're number one.
So I said, that is all I'm going to do. I am going to pivot right now. And then I went after the top insurance advisors. I didn't say, who are people? I needed to create cash flow because I didn't have any. So rather than go after corporations that there might be a sales cycle, I said, who are individuals? And then I made my list of top advisors, and then I asked for referrals, and then I went after them. And I rebuilt the practice from nothing to 7 figures in 45 days.
Oh.
Um, and I'm happy to say right now, I bet you, like, for example, at Mass Mutual, I bet you I have 25 of the top 100 advisors today. And every day, today I got one, a 30-year-old in Chicago, Michael Schoolcraft. He sold a $432,000 insurance premium. He made more money yesterday than he has in any year in his life. He's the 9th person this year. It's March, and 9 of those people have sold more this year than they ever have in a year.
Wow.
So I created a psychographic. What kind of people? Coachable, not satisfied, have a reason to win. Some of it's to avoid failure. Some of it's not to be my parents. Some of it's to please my parents. Some of it's to be, have options that my never parents had. One of them, it's to take care of my parents. But it's a lot of parent kind of issues. But like people that care, people that love, people that are service, people that are willing to be coached, people that I could tell the truth to, and people that wanted to win. And so here's the thing, that the Dream 100 can evolve. I started with let's get top ones and get referred. But small companies, your 100 doesn't refer you up, it refers you down. So start big, but start big on where you can make a difference. I'm happy that if a person gives me $1, they get at least 10 back. So, and by the way, I made a list. I can't do that for everyone. I'm not magic. I'm not that good. I'm good for who I'm good for, and I'm not for other people. And there are plenty of people who I'm not right for. But the ones I'm right for, there's going to be magic. So I spend my time there. And if they won't get the return, I'm out. I change my demographic. I change my psychographic. Now, here's the good news. We're coming out of it. The world's evolving. And I have people that are winning everywhere. And now those individuals, it's general agents with 600 agents that are calling me. It's the presidents of companies. And now, having worked and dominating the biggest company in the industry, well, now my Dream 100 is interesting because I have social proof. I do some work with Bob Cialdini. And Bob Cialdini said that when people are like looking to make a decision, they look to authority and they look to social proof. If you're not sure, just think about how you buy at Amazon. I want to buy Himalayan salt. What do? I don't know. Which one sold the most? Which has the most stars? What do? I look at who's got the most. I read the ones on the top. Then I read the ones that have 0 stars, 1 star. Right? I go, I can live with that. Let's go for this. And then I'm done. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Himalayan pink salt.
Right.
When you have the top people, the rest of the people want to find out why they're doing business with you. But it's not about having the top, because if you go after the top and you don't have a gift for them, they have nothing to say for you. You got to underwrite your spots. Sometimes we make our list. We're a little desperate, and it's like, who is proximity? It could be we make our list out of ego. What will make me look good? I did that when I was 30 years old. I started a business. I just said, let's go after the top 30 companies that are innovative companies, so we could say we have them. I did that out of like my need to be compelled by that. I don't really care about that so much anymore, but I did then. It could be, what are you passionate about? I lost a job once. I was advertising, and we lost an account, and I was the young man on the totem pole, and I got sacked. I read you should make this wasn't Dream 100, but it was the same advisor in the employment space said, make a list of 100 companies that you believe in. So I went in my house and I had lots of books. I'd pick up a book and I'd page through it, In Search of Excellence and Passion for Excellence, Tom Peters. I'd say, I could sell that. I'd pick up things. I make my list of 100 companies. I print it out. And it says jobs, places Tom Schaff would like to work, page 1 through. I put it on a word processor. That was like a typewriter back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I had 20 copies. And I put it in my briefcase. There was this thing called a briefcase back then. We didn't have computers or backpacks. I'm walking around without a job, trying to go get a job, and I run into a guy that I took all of his money in student government. I cut his budgets when I was a freshman in college. I ran into him on the street in Minneapolis, and he said, I walked by him, and he did the same thing. Turned around, he goes, "Are you Tom Schaff?" I said, "Are you Brian Wilson?" I said, "What are you doing? It's been a while." And it was kind of nice, given we didn't have the greatest experience about 7 or 10 years earlier. He says, "What are you up to?" I said, "I'm looking for a job." "What are you looking for?" I handed him the list. He looks at the list. Number 7 on the list was Creative Learning International out of Neenah, Wisconsin. He said, "Why do you want to work at Creative Learning?" I said, "Oh, they have this little gizmo called the Pocket Innovator." He goes, You have one?" I go, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "You're the only one that bought one." I go, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Because it's going bankrupt." I'm like, "What?" I said, "How do you know?" He said, "He had my job in student government the year before. He went to school at our school." I said, "You're kidding." He goes, "Do you want to meet him?" I say, "Yes." He goes, "Come to my house in 2 days for Thanksgiving dinner." And you know what? That on my list, I took over that company. That's how I got into creative space. And that guy turned out to be my best man in my wedding.
Oh, chills.
Yep. He's been, distance of things moves. I still talk to him every week. We spend less time together in the last maybe 5 years, but we used to, for 20 years, inseparable. Got me to leave my business. I was an advertising guy and I left to join him. That's Dream 100. It was what? So how did I come up with that? What do I have a passion for? What would I sell with the straight face? What companies would I like to have on my business card? It could be that simple. It could be, what are companies? I have a son, 2 of them, but one's a business kid, 19. He's looking for internships. He's like, "Dad, how do you get an internship?" I said, "Well, there's a lot of ways to get an internship. Why don't you start with things you're interested in? Hearthstone, write that down, right? A video game, right? Like, what are you passionate about?" My oldest one, when he was a kid, he's an artist now, but he wasn't sure what he would do, thought he might be a programmer. And he loved Taco Bell. He went to Taco Bell every day. The drive-in at his college was broken. And or the restaurant was being reformed, rather. So you could only go through the drive-through. So they went through the drive-through walking. They said, "You have to have a car to go through the drive-through." They built a cardboard car. They went through the drive-through every day in a cardboard car and went beep, beep. I swear to God. I said, "Son, send that story to the president of Taco Bell. You'll have a job at the headquarters in Irvine, California." Like, what are you passionate about? I'm Field of Dreams. I have a vision for what the Field of Dreams in Iowa will be. You know what I did? I said, "You know what? I want celebrity investors." So I said, "Well, who would care?" I said, "Well, Jack Nicholson is the Lakers guy, right? You have to be under a rock to not know that the number 1 fan of the Lakers is Jack Nicholson. Every team has one." So I said, "Here are the 30 baseball teams. Who are their top fans?" Then I went through the other room. I have the largest baseball bobblehead collection in the world. I said, "What are all the celebrities that have been bobbleheads that were given away at a stadium?" And I said, "Okay, if you're a bobblehead and you've thrown out the first pitch or sang the national anthem and are considered the face of the franchise, you're a baseball fan." Then I checked out their net worth. I said, all people that had a bobblehead that sang the national anthem or threw out the first pitch and have a net worth of at least $40 million are my people. I now have a Dream 233. Those are my people.
Wow.
The average person doesn't care about the Field of Dreams. A baseball fan with money, it's Jerusalem. you know, it's sacred ground. It's holy ground. So that's how I come up with my lists. Like, what do you care about? What are you passionate about? What turns you on? What do you think will be an adventure? Behind me is a little fella, about 6.5 feet tall, named Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
It occurred to me that he's literally the biggest star in the world right now. He's also the best paid. He made about 230 million, and that's before he started his new show on NBC, Young Rock. And he's about to become the new Marvel character, Black Adam.
Oh.
He will be even larger than life in the coming year. He was on a show that I love called Ballers. He was a sports agent in Miami, and he wore the coolest suits in the world. Every suit he's got, they're just ridiculous colors. I saw there was an auction. So I bought all of the wardrobe for the show. I have 40 of Dwayne Johnson's suits. This is his velvet purple tuxedo that he wore to the Emmys, complete with his name inside of it. I have 21 sets of his shoes.
Wow.
So you and I said, this will be fun. This will be fun. I said, well, you know what? What?
What are you going to do with all of that?
I am going to carpet bomb my dream people that are ballers.
Okay.
People that are innovative, that push the edge, that are benevolent and good. You know what? I don't think we're ever going to see Mr. Johnson win an Academy Award. But I've never seen a movie that I didn't enjoy of his. He's an entertainer. And what I like about him is his ability to make fun of himself. At the end of the day, he's a larger than life character who can take a shot at himself. It makes you feel good. He's family friendly. You as a dude, you admire him. As a girl, you're like, look at him. He's just, magnificent. It's hard to hate the guy, and he's good. He does good things. He hasn't been trouble in the world. So I said, I like that. I like this guy who pushes it, is always relentless. He's number one. He physically, pays the price to be physically who he is. He's smart. He's charismatic. It's everything that you want to be. So I decided you get attached to worse things. So I made my list of people who will give a darn, ballers, the kind of my second draft. And I actually, last Saturday, wrote a letter with Jay Abraham.
Oh, okay.
So Jay and I put together, your dad's, former business partner, and we crushed out a letter for them. And instead of like these suits, I'm sending 100 of those 6.5-foot cardboard cutouts in 6.5-foot boxes. A box is going to come to an executive, and I'm going to put so much tape on it that it'll take a crowbar to open it. There'll be 4 people pulling this apart going, because the journey is the thing. It's not the destination. It's the journey. It's the what is in it. What's in it. It's Christmas. They open the thing up, and when they get it open, it'll be like, it's Dwayne Johnson. Why is Dwayne Johnson here? I must know what thing. In his hand will be a letter. And in the letter, it will be, I'm sending you this letter for a big reason. I've sent you the biggest star in the world and the biggest box in the world to tell you the biggest idea in the world. If your 2020 sucked, it's not because of COVID, it's because your ideas are small. If you want bigger ideas, if you want to get in front of bigger people, you need bigger ideas. Now, if you don't believe that, you're reading this letter. And then in it, there'll also be a picture of 50 suits and all these shoes and all the stuff. I'll be like, I'm sending you a picture of the largest collection of Dwayne Johnson memorabilia from my personal collection from Ballers, because it represents excellence of going the distance, of paying the price, and the rewards when happen when you refuse to be average. I'm just making this stuff up. I don't remember what the letter is, but this isn't bad, right?
It is really good.
And then it's like, for the 50 next clients that are retained in order, you will be able to select from my closet his suit from the Emmy, his suit from the Oscars, his suit from this, and we'll ship it to you in a mannequin so that every time you look at it, it reminds you of who you could be if you would pay the price. My shoes, I'm going to send them a shoe. My Dream 100, I'm going to send a shoe. I'm sending this shoe to get my foot in the door, but this is no ordinary shoe. First of all, it's larger than life. And before you throw it out, realize it's the biggest star in the world shoe. Why would I do this? Same copy. Set up the meeting and I'll give you the other shoe. What?
It's so good. It's so good. This is what makes you so brilliant, are these ideas that are just so out of the box. They're just so big that's how you get these huge success stories.
These ideas are in the box. They're in the box. Sometimes you don't have the budget to do that. So you just send a shark. You put a stamp on this shark and you put a message in the shark. Have you ever gotten a shark in the mail?
Never.
They tend to be opened. You know what? Sometimes I mail people. I'm going to take out I got two garbages, my show garbage and my real garbage. You don't need to see my real garbage, but this is a garbage can. Do you know if you put stamps on this, you can mail this just like this?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Return address out here, the address here, and you know what this becomes? A postcard.
Wow.
So I put all of this on it, right? I put my message, then I write my letter, I put an arrow up, I tape it in a plastic sack inside, and the letter's all scrunched up. You know what it says? I have sent you bottles. I've sent you video emails. I've called. I've sent voicemail, and it all goes in the garbage. I thought I'd save you a step. Before I give up, there's a reason I'm so persistent. Blah, 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 blah. This is a smaller version of that.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So, see, here's the thing. You can get in front of anyone if you have a reason. Now, I wouldn't invest the time or the money. I got a new one. I do whale hunting. So I send somebody the book, Whale Hunting. And then after that, I send them a quote. It's a takeoff from Ernest Hemingway. It said, Ernest Hemingway said, once you've hunted armed men and liked it, you'll never hunt anything but armed men again. So I wrote it, once you've hunted whales and liked it, you will never hunt anything but whales again. I had it made into this nice piece of art. They get a book, they get a piece of art, then they get an 8-foot harpoon, a whale harpoon. And then the next mailing they get is 2 gallons of tartar sauce. And on the tartar sauce, it has a sticker. And the sticker says, I've redone the sticker over their label, put their picture on the sticker, and it has this quote. Optimism is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and bringing the tartar sauce. Now, they don't, listen, what I've done is I made it, but see all my crap on my walls?
Yes.
Their walls have my crap. So when you're a hoarder, you know the psychology of hoarding. And so to be a Dream 100 person, you must master the art of accumulation and terrorizing people with mail. My job is to terrorize. I've had 4 mail people that have quit because the amount of crap that they deliver and send out, they just say, I cannot work this route. I must move on. I'll do something easier, like a sanitation worker.
But You know what I get from you also is it's not like, okay, I'm going to do a Dream 100, so I'm going to put out a direct mail and I have to do this check and check these off the box. You just genuinely do what you enjoy and what you love and what just you think will be so freaking hilarious, right? And that is something that I hope that every single person that watches this takes away from you, is that it can be fun. How can you make it entertaining? How can you laugh at yourself because it's so freaking funny? I just love that.
You know, I heard somebody, you're right. I'll tell you where it came from. Two things. As a child, my mom said, "You're weird and wonderful. You're weird and wonderful." And she encouraged our weirdness. As a 12-year-old, I had a lot of options. I was weird in a lot of ways. I played the accordion. Till Sister Clavera died, and then I got out of that sucker. But one thing, I had 25,000 baseball cards as a kid. And when I thought about it, I read a book and it said, find out what made you weird when you were 12 and do that for a living. And I was a consultant, but I will tell you, I was passionless. I did not have my level of passion when I worked with your dad. It wasn't your dad. It was, I thought I was going to be a screenwriter. I had the same lament. And what attracted me to your father is, as much as he was a great consultant, that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to make movies, he wanted to create art, and he wrote 1,000 songs. And he pursued it, and it just didn't happen for him, despite his amazing talent. I was attracted to that because there was this part that said, if I wasn't a chicken, I'd be in LA and I'd be making my ideas happen. But I did have this passion for baseball. So I said, I'm going to make my company Major League Sales. I'm going to buy baseball crap. I'm going to sit with my heroes of my youth all day long. I'm going to make it so I can go to the World Series every year, throw the first pitch at every game. I'm going to know every Hall of Famer. I'm going to do it. You know why? Because I can. And then one day I went to the Field of Dreams. And I remember coming out of the corn at the Field of Dreams at a game where I came out, I paid a bunch of money to play. And I was there with Reggie Jackson and Pete Rose and all these great players from my childhood. And it was the greatest day ever. And I said to myself, why don't I do this all the time? And the answer was because I didn't have enough time and money. And I decided I will do stuff that will create time and money so every day is a joy. Because not unlike your father, I had other friends that passed away. I said, you don't know how long you have. So I'm going to go out squealing the tires. Like every day, I'm going to squeal tires. And instead of endure same old, hit my dream 100 of people that don't give a rip and I don't give a rip about, I am going to laugh on every call. I'm going to choose to laugh and I'm going to choose to create joy. I'm going to choose to create wealth. And everywhere I go, I'm going to celebrate that whereas other people go to work, I go to play and all day. And part of this was, you know, I was a failed comic. I also thought I was going to be a comic. I did stand up. They told me to sit down and that was my best joke. Okay, thanks for the courtesy laugh. I appreciate that. So it's not getting any better. But you know what? I found that I had a unique way of when I was calling, I could make people laugh. Like when people would call, you know, they'd like, may I ask who's calling? I'd be like, yes, tell them it's one tough hombre. They'd be like, what? One tough hombre, Hombre. And they said, are you serious? I'd be like, yes. And then they would giggle and they go, hey, call for you. Who is it? One tough hombre, Hombre. And then on the other side, there'd be some major executive going, okay, tough hombre, you know, what the hell is this? And then I would say something and then they would laugh and they go, can you teach my people to do that? So I made up new words, big swift kicker, troublemaker. I'd do anything that just supported my habit of like no attention span. Like I needed to laugh all day. I'm very not a mature person. I'm a broken toy at a lot of levels. So somebody said, make your mess your message.
Oh, wow.
I'm a mess. that used to, like corporate America, they put me in the doghouse for that crap. Behave, bad boy, kick me in the nose, right? I'd be like, I'm not a corporate dude. I'm a street fighter. I will crush you, corporation. So, you know what I found out? My Dream 100 used to be go after corporate logos. Today, I go after David to crush corporate logos. I take the underdog who has it, who has something of value and has a consciousness, and it's not just their business, it's they want to do something else. My wife and I, we support building wells in Africa. You know why? When there's no water in Africa, they don't send boys to get the water, they send girls. That girl doesn't get to go to school. That girl gets raped and pillaged on the way to and from, and a child is lost. But when you have a well in your city, all the girls get to go to school. Okay, they aren't defiled, right? So, you know, I found out there are people that support those missions. They don't care about their businesses, but when they make more money, they're building wells. In Malawi, the poorest country in the world, more people die of kerosene burns than AIDS. Like AIDS is Africa is the AIDS continent.
Oh.
But kerosene, people get burnt. There's no light, so they have kerosene. A disproportion of their wealth goes to just so they can see at night. But the answer is solar light. A solar light means they don't have to spend any money, and they cost us nothing. 2 weeks ago, a top producer in the world, legend named Rick Scruggs in Virginia, in the insurance business, said, I'm going to tell you about watts of light. Watts of light. It's a mission to bring solar power light to the most impoverished countries in the world, where they can see at night, so they can study and they can have a life, so that they can protect themselves from bad people, and so they don't have to spend money on kerosene. We decided we would start a foundation to drive it for salespeople. Salespeople like to have, so sometimes it's our people don't really care what you sell. We care about who you are and what you want to support. And if you want to support indigenous peoples of other places that don't have the opportunities, and you're thankful that you were born on third base, thought you hit a triple in the United States, maybe there's something more to than just having a bigger car or another house. Maybe. So those are, how do you come up with your Dream 100? You got to start where you are. When I was 30, I called on little people because I was little. And then somebody said, you have to call on a decision maker. So I said, I'm going to be a decision maker, meet with decision makers for the purpose of making decisions. It was kind of a nice little pitch. I put decision maker on my card. And I'd give someone my card and they would laugh, you're a decision maker. And I'd say, are you? And it was kind of dorky, but it got my beliefs to change. And then one day I didn't need that gimmick. But then I said, is that all there is? What if we were difference makers who called on difference makers for the purpose of making a difference? And so now my list a little evolved. I'm now a little older than your dad was when he passed. Not a lot, but just like a year. But you're like, I don't know. If I'm blessed with 30 years, that'll be great. If I'm blessed with the day, but today, my list is going to be people that are up to something. And that'll be my legacy. That'll be my legacy. So that's how you make your list. Can it work? You got to find your list of people. I was 22. I think the thing that I would like to drive home when it comes to Dream 100 is you can come up with your list of people you want, but that's what you want. The question is, who will want you? My brother-in-law is a priest, and he celebrated our wedding. He was the official, he was the pastor, the priest in the ceremony. In the Catholic tradition, they give a homily, a message in the middle of the ceremony. And he said, there once was a man looking for the perfect woman. And when he found her, she unfortunately was looking for the perfect man. Um, sometimes we look for our perfect dream 100, not understanding that the one that we think is perfect is looking for the perfect company. And we all have our warts. The question is, who's perfect for you? As I took my kids through the college, I have great kids and I love them. And I wasn't looking to get them in the best school. I wanted them to be in the best school for them. I read a quote that said, college is not a prize to be won. College is a fit to be made. Dream 100 is not a prize to be won. It's a fit to be made. It's a marriage to be made. It's not who do I want? It's who can I create the most value? Who's harmed the most because I'm not here? And when I can get my list of who I can make the most difference for, weirdly enough, they've been waiting for you to show up, and that tends to go exponentially. Now, on that list of the 100 people that I can make the most difference, there are people that you can make more difference for. They ought to be in your first wave of 10 companies or so. And like, why go after 100 equally when there's 10 that you can make more difference for? I'll kind of bring this back as a summary now. I'm 23 years old and selling life insurance. I'm broke. I'm living with 3 guys. We have used furniture from all of our parents. Our fridge has 2 beers, 2 pieces of moldy pizza, and a baking soda thing to make it not stink. This is our place. They told us, go sell your friends and then you'll be referred to their parents, because doctors and captains of industry want to buy insurance from 23-year-old drunk roommates of their children. I'm telling you, it didn't work. And I struggled. I must have the ugliest friends in the world, because nobody got married till they were about 30. And, but one friend did. And they shortly later they were very successful. Came from good stock, as they say. They quickly got pregnant with their first child. And I got invited to a couple shower. I didn't know what one was. I called my sister, what is a couple shower? They're like, they're going to have the baby. And so they're going to have a party for all their friends, bring a date, and then you got to bring them a gift. I said, what do you get them? They go to Dayton Hudson, the department store in Minneapolis, now Target. Go to Dayton Hudson. They have a computer. It's called the Stork Registry. In it, I'll have a list of all their crap. That's the best store in town, Dayton Hudson. They have money. They'll be there. I go in, I put in S for my buddy's last name, put in C. His name pops up. I print out the list. It has their name, their address, their phone number. People were stupid in 1986. It had the day the baby would be born.
Wow.
And it had a list of everything they wanted. You know what occurred to me? Da-da-da-da. I don't need to dream 100. I need this box. I went in and go, A, and I looked through and go, good suburb, printed. Good suburb, printed. B, good suburb. I printed out all of the list, because you know what I found out?
What?
I didn't know anybody that had a lot of money, that was 25 or so, that lived on the right side of town, that was pregnant. But that box had them all. I printed out this pile. I looked till there was nobody, and I ran for the door like I was the Heisman Trophy. I'd call them up and I'd say, hey, ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. Hey, Amanda's not in. Amanda's not in, is she?
Oh, yes, this is she.
Oh, Amanda. Tommy Schaff, is my name familiar?
No.
Northwestern Mutual?
Can't say that I know. Did we speak before?
This will be a short call. Big picture, I'm an insurance guy. I'm not even really good at this. I can only help one kind of person. I typically help young families, right side of town, probably starting their careers, expecting a pretty good future, and maybe contemplating or just recently had kids. If you're not that, you should hang up on me. And you would say?
Oh, how funny you should say. I am expecting.
You're what?
I'm expecting a child.
get out of the town. What is that? You know, like, you are not. And then you would talk, and I'd say, well, listen, before I wasted a lot of your time, first of all, congratulations. There's two kinds of people: people that believe in insurance and people that don't. Which one are you?
Mm. I think insurance is even more important now that I'm having a family.
Oh, that's too bad.
Why?
Well, then you've already taken care of this.
No, I haven't.
Sorry?
I haven't.
What do you mean? I thought you believed in insurance.
Yes, now that you bring it up, I think that that would probably be pretty important.
They didn't usually give that easily. I usually had to go to this next one. Dumb question. Something happens to your spouse today. You're still having the kid, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to raise them without any coverage. And that's when they would ask me in. And I did that 3 appointments a week. I got 2 of them, and I made $9,000 a week in 1987. You know what? I got awards, and I came on this stage, and they go, okay, so here's what I do. I go to Dayton Hudson, I print out these things, and I go, hey, would you still have the baby if your husband died? They're like, no. And that's why I quit selling insurance. But here's the point of the story. I didn't know anything about selling. I found people that needed me worse than I needed them. Find somebody that needs you. When you look at your Dream 100, think of the antecedent events that cause a need. Someone gets pregnant, they buy a different house, they buy a different car. We bought a van. My wife had a sports car. We bought furniture. We bought these things. We buy life insurance. There are antecedent events. When somebody changes, when a president of a company changes, everything's going to change. Don't just look at raw numbers going, here's 100. That's a list. If you're going to do that, call disease. No one ever gets to them. Okay? That was supposed to make you laugh. Okay, so start at the bottom because everybody quits. They never get called. But what works better is to think. I studied the Inuits, and the Inuit, indigenous people of the North, they lived and sustained by whales. But if you wait to hunt whales and you wait to see one, there's a whale. Let's go get Moby. It's too late. By the time you navigate through chunks of, 1,000-pound ice, like all over the place, the whale will be gone. You have to know where the whale will be right there 45 minutes before. But how do you know? You don't have GPS. You don't have a satellite. The Inuits were smart. They put their children to play on the coast, play by the beach. When birds gathered over the water, they knew there were krill in the water. The birds were over that spot because they were feeding. Behind a bunch of little fish are a bunch of big fish. And behind the big fish are seals, and behind them are whales. The answer is look for the birds. You'll get the whale in 45 minutes or sometime. When you're looking at your Dream 100, the question you should ask is, what are your birds? What's the sign that somebody's going to buy the thing that we sell? They just don't know it yet. What's the problem we solve? What happens before that that creates that problem? If I can get the list, if I can create analytics, if I can be alerted to people that are in transition, that are in changes, everything will change. All of a sudden, I don't have to chase them forever. My last message, and then probably I don't know anything else, is you get sent to who you sound like. You get sent to who you sound like. If someone calls you up and speaks Chinese, you might know Chinese, but this buddy, I am going to be like, I'll be looking around somewhere. I'll call siblings going, do you know anybody at work that speaks Chinese? Because I don't speak Chinese. I'll be like, why is someone speak? You get sent to who you sound like. When you talk about your product or things related to your product, you get sent to people that buy your product, and all they can do is buy it on price. They're usually going to be commoditized. You're not going to be the lowest price. You'll get a chance to do a lot of work, and at the end of the day, they'll even if you drop your price, they'll just lower their existing vendor's price because change is a bugger. What I've learned about Dream 100 is I needed to transform the language. I needed to transform the language of what I talk about to the language they talk about. And I needed to move from the person that I used to call on to the person that doesn't think they need to see me. I'll give you an example. As I call on larger institutions, as a guy who works on sales, they want to send me to the sales leader who can't buy pencils. They can't do anything. They have to get permission for anything. Yeah. I don't want to call a sales VP. By the way, if you're a sales VP, I don't want you to call me. Never. Why? You don't have any money. I deal with CEOs. I don't care what the size, GMs. If you're not the head, I'm not talking. I needed to re-change my message. It's not what I have. It's the problem you have. And the executive problems are risk mitigation, growth, sales and profits, and specialization, differentiation, blue ocean. So I take a look and say, how does what we do mitigate their risk? How does it give them growth? How does it give them difference that helps them acquire new customers? I can't talk about what I have, or they'll say, tell me about it. What makes you better, different? What I want is to transfer the relationship to problems that this person went to a meeting today at. And then when I call, they go, that's funny, I was just talking about that. And now I get access. And when I get access, my last lesson in that, in Dream 100, if the deals are big, and you know, I've helped people close deals with frequency over 100 million to $1 billion. For some firms, their 100 million is 3 and 5 million. For individuals, maybe it's a $432,000 case, like the kid yesterday, but he made $211,000. These range individuals, the larger scale problems, salespeople do not win deals. They get access to decision makers to disqualify the opportunity. Whenever there's a lot of juice on the bone, whenever there's meat on the bone, whenever there's a lot of stuff, when there's a lot of opportunity, they're not going to believe a salesperson. They kind of believe that you're saying things because you'll get a commission. A salesperson never makes claims. They say, we solve these problems. Here's what we can do. Here's what we can't do. Let's see if you have a business case. I think we can help you, but you should never trust me. I'm a salesperson. Do you mind if we get your team of experts to meet with my team of experts and see if there's a reason for us to play further? It takes a cast of characters. You were an artist, performing artist, singer, beautiful one, by the way, great singer, guitar player, etc. But you would never, if you chose to go that way, you never made it on your own. You need an agent, and you need an accountant, and you need production, and you need backup musicians and other vocalists and sound mixers and a host. There's a cast of thousands that it takes to make an artist. You need a costumer and an exercise person because it's your brand and all this stuff, right? We see the face and the voice, but like success has 1,000 fathers. That's what it is in sales of large deals. So the companies here that are selling things that have zeros, the more zeros, the more people show up. The biggest mistake I've seen when people are hunting large deals in the Dream 100, a person comes, makes a list of 100, calls them, and it never occurs to them, what are they going to do if they get in front of them? What will they do if they hook their attention? When there's one person that has the answers to everything, you look small, and small is scary. Big companies buy from small companies because they're creative and they're responsive. They don't buy from them because they're risky. There isn't redundancy. And if it doesn't work, they'll get blamed. When you're hunting whales, you should in Dream 100. And most people, when they say Dream 100, they're looking for bigger, not better. So if you're looking for bigger, you ought to figure out who's going to come with me. Another consultant that worked with your dad, a good friend of mine, was named Gene McNaughton. Gene and I did a deal for a college football team member in Iowa. They had a call center. They had 969. After your dad passed, we did some things together. This company had 969 clients, I think was the number. 13 of them did 91% of their business. They hadn't won a deal of size in some years. I said, well, first of all, we're not going to try to sell 969. I think you should get rid of 956 of your clients. All they are is a mess.
Yeah.
That didn't go well. Then I said, I don't think we should go after your top 13. And I don't think we should go after anything new. Let's figure out what we're really good at, and let's sort it out, and let's go after 4. Let's just go after 4 of your 969 clients. We went after 1. And 1 created a $100 million sale. They were only a $67 million company. They had 969 clients that did 67 million. We went after 1 of their clients that we looked at, we thought through, and we figured out how we were going to win it. And it was a time and a third of their whole business. They had hired, I think, 2,000 employees. We put 2,000 people to work. Do you need 100? Maybe not. You need 100 when you're looking to get going and to do something. When you have insight, maybe it's less. When you're not desperate, maybe it's not who could pay me, but who will be a joy to work with, who will bring joy, relationship. Sometimes the answer isn't to get everyone on your list. It's to get someone who matters more on the list, because once you have it, they'll bring you everyone else. So Sun Tzu said, if there's 1,000 of them and 10 of you, you're like, don't fight them. Like, against, like, there's 1,000 of them, there's 10 of you. What you've got to do is you got to flank them, number one. And then what you really do is you do guerrilla marketing. You go after the leader and take out the leader. If you can take out the leader, the chickens will run when you cut them off from the head, okay? In Dream 100, sometimes what you say is, who's the leader? Who's the one that if we get them, all the dominoes fall? Rather than taking your axe and chopping at 100 trees, chop, 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 hurting 100 trees, maybe you ought to chop at one tree 100 times, but pick the right tree. And when it falls, they all fall. These are my weird ideas that I've come up with since working with your dad.
They are brilliant. I have enjoyed every minute of it. I don't think I've had one interview where I've smiled as much as I have with this one.
You're in Puerto Rico, that helps.
I'm only looking out at the ocean and not there yet. No, I am so grateful that you were able to shed such wonderful light on the Dream 100 with so many interesting stories, and just mostly you just being you. That's the biggest takeaway for me, and always been your guiding light for me to follow my own path. And it may be different from what's been before, but it's what brings us joy. So thank you for not only showing us how to win a big deal, but also how to do it with joy.
Well, great. I think, at the end of the day, the word salesperson's an interesting one. We often leave the person out of the sale. Mm-hmm. So I think if we really look forward, the easy lock, the key to turn the lock is to put the person back into salesperson, to not be anybody else, to be you. That's what I say to you all the time. Don't be your dad, be you. Why? Because you're never, you went to USC. this is the best way to end. USC had a guy that taught there far before you enrolled. His name was Leo Biscaglia. He taught a course on love. And in it, he would do this poem, and I won't have it exactly right, but it'll be directional. He said, I'm a plum. Not everybody loves plums. Some people like bananas. Sometimes I want to be a banana because everybody loves plums, but I'm a plum. I think I said that wrong. Anyhow,
right. Everyone wants bananas, but I'm a plum.
Everybody
right?
wants a banana, but I'm a plum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I am?
Hmm.
A plum. See, when you're a plum, not everyone gonna love you, but the ones that love plum will get you. When you try to be a banana, you will always be a second-rate banana. The problem with Dream 100, you come up with a list and it never shows up that they are banana buyers. Find a list of people that are looking for you, that when you show up, you will be taller and smarter and wiser, and you will be all the more joyous.
Thank you, Tom Schaff. That was brilliant. And for people to find you, would it be majorleaguesales.com?
They can go that, but to be honest, right now, the best way is probably LinkedIn. So reach out on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect.
You can see all the lies I told you about myself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.